Fat Joe, what's going on between both of y'all? I know he made some comments about FBAs, and I know he made a comment about how you was the wackest one in Brand Nubian, but I mean, what's going on between both of y'all, man?
I mean, first of all, his comment about FBA is kind of crazy because FBA is the one that put him where he is today. So you have to understand that it wasn't the Puerto Rican community or any other community that embraced Fat Joe. Fat Joe came up in DITC, which consists of mainly foundational Black Americans, and he was the only Puerto Rican member in the group. So it's kind of ironic for him to attack foundational Black Americans with his rhetoric. He sat there, and as a white Puerto Rican, he sat there and used the word nigga more than niggas used the word nigga. In a room full of niggas, and not a nigga said nothing. They just let him nigger it up. And Math Hoffa and them is getting a little heat for that right now too. But I think it was uncalled for. First of all, it needs to be said that foundational Black Americans, and not the foundational Black authority, as he said, is not an organization. It's a lineage. Either you're part of it or you're not, by lineage, okay? Where your ancestry takes you. So, there's about 48 million people that would be considered foundational Black Americans, and he's disrespecting all of them. I've said this before, Black people decide who sits at the cool table. And if we didn't want Fat Joe to sit at the cool table back then, he wouldn't have sat there. It wouldn't have mattered how much money you got and all of that. We decide. But since you came in with some people that we loved and respect, shout out to Lord Finesse, Showbiz, Diamond D, rest in peace, Big L, OC. These are people that gave you the cosign, so we was like, all right, cool. You know what I mean? They say get a person mad and you'll see how they really feel about you, So when he was in there talking about broke ass niggas and all of that, like, let's be clear, he wasn't saying nigga as a term of endearment. Like, he was angry in that moment. So to be saying nigga is kind of crazy. To say that I'm the wackest one in Brand Nubian is like saying Clyde Drexler was the wackest one on the Dream Team. Or pick any one of them on the Dream Team. There is no whack one in Brand Nubian. Like, Brand Nubian is a dream team, is an all-star team. But now when you say something like that, right, you open yourself up for criticism. And as a person who don't even write their own music, who don't even write their own raps, who is in a crew of phenomenal rappers, dare I say you, sir, were the wackest one in the crew. Let's be clear. You, sir, was the wackest one in Terror Squad. Like, everybody in Terror Squad is better than Fat Joe. Like, let's be clear. And I'm like, yo, this dude is actually lying on me to try to justify what he did. So here's what he tells Math Hoffa and them. He tells them that he stepped to me because I was, quote unquote, talking crazy, even though he didn't say what the talking crazy was. And I'm gonna tell you what it was. This is the word is born to the Father on my seeds, what really happened. I got a FaceTime from a mutual friend of ours who I was in contact with at that time very regularly. So I'm thinking nothing of it. When I pick up the FaceTime, he's got Fat Joe in on the FaceTime. Fat Joe hits me up and is upset that I talked about on my show, that I talked about when he wore the moon boots, those Yeezy moon boots. You remember those ugly ass moon boots? He had a pink Celine hoodie with this tan jacket on that wasn't fitting well, with these moon boots on, and the internet roasted him. The internet roasted him. I didn't go crazy on him, but I was like, yo, some we don't need to be wearing past a certain age. Like, we can't try to wear all the things that we think young kids is wearing, whether they think it's fly or not, whether it costs a lot of money. Like, that shit looked crazy. He hit me up like, yo, chill, bro. Like, yo, I wouldn't do that to you. Like, and I'm like, all right, maybe he's right. You know what I mean? I've known this dude for a while. We've been, you know what I mean? We've had a good rapport. It's not like we were friends calling each other, but we always had a great rapport when we saw each other. You know what I mean? Seen him out one night at a steakhouse in New York, and I didn't realize I needed reservations, and he's going in there with his family, and he ends up you know, walking me in there and all of that type of shit. Some cool shit. That's why this is like almost shocking and disappointing to me. So that's the only time he said anything to me about, yo, chill, bro. And I said, you know what, you're right. And I chilled. I never talked about Fat Joe's fashion after that. But the next time that I talked about Fat Joe was in regards when he said that hip hop was 50-50 black and Puerto Rican. That had nothing to do with his fashion or anything personal about him. But I had to say, yo, that's not true. And at some point, I offered not just Fat Joe, I offered KRS-One, Fat Joe, my brother Busta Bus, I offered Crazy Legs, who else? Pete Rock. I offered all of these guys to come to the table and let's have a debate about the origins of hip hop. I'll bring my old school dudes from back then that's saying it was this. You bring the people that you claim to have. And we'll show you through what we've been saying that the DNA of hip hop shows that there is no other influence except foundational Black American youth influence. And this whole idea of a melting pot is ridiculous. And to act like proximity, influenced everybody is crazy. There was Italians in the Bronx. There was Jewish people in the Bronx. They had nothing to do with hip hop. They didn't influence hip hop. Other than we went to Jew Man's to buy some, gear and shit like that, get your Pumas dyed and shit like that. That was like a custom place to go on Simpson or whatever in the Bronx, but that's it. I think this whole thing about people having money and, the corporate entities give you these looks. He's been hosting these, award shows, and I think he thought that he was bigger to the culture than I was. And he thought he was gonna be able to cancel me by saying these things. See, now people are throwing, he'll say anything for attention. The earth is flat, this and that. Listen, that's another thing. Like, if you want to debate me, don't try to just throw that out there like I'm just wilding out and I'm just saying something. Trust me, this is something that I've studied. And if I wasn't 1,000% sure of what I'm talking about, I would have never brought it up. But again, people take what they learned in 3rd grade and believe that they know more than what they know, and they think that they can just laugh it off. But if it's something that you really research, you'll find that there's a lot more to what I'm talking about in that subject. So again, Fat Joe, whatever you want to debate me in. You know what I mean? You want to debate me about the origins of hip hop, we can do that. You want to debate me about flat earth, we can do that. If you want to put out music and battle albums with a new album, because I know you got a new album out, and I actually got an album that I'm getting ready to put out soon, and I'm telling you that I make better music than Fat Joe right now, and I produce and write all my own shit.